This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Well, joining us today is Clarissa Coker, the CEO of Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies, following the announcement from the company today of the intention to delist from the LSE from the 6th of June. Well, thank you for joining us today, Clarissa. First of all, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm very well, thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to be talking. I mean, this news probably came as a bit of a surprise to the market and shareholders this morning. I wonder if you've got any words really to sort of say, first of all, to shareholders who perhaps are feeling a little bit disappointed with this news, or perhaps very disappointed, particularly if they've sort of bought in at higher share prices around 5p at the IPO and have sort of supported the company through their progression to then effectively be seeing the shares becoming untradeable.
That's a fair question, Mark, and I certainly would extend my thanks and my gratitude to everybody who has supported the company, from before IPO. And we've got some people who are still very much on the shareholder register who've been with us since the company's inception in 2017. So, for everybody who's been supporting us along the way, and me and my team in particular, I'm hugely grateful. And I hope people will see this as the opportunity that we as the board unanimously believe it to be, to really reset particularly the valuation of the company and our ability to progress our drug development programs, which we believe are very important. Our core mission is to bring new medicines to people who are living with debilitating conditions, to progress those and bring them forward in a timely fashion.
Well, we'll talk about that, that in a moment, because it's definitely sounding like you see it as an opportunity, and certainly from reading the RNS as well, that's how it reads. But I mean, could we perhaps just go over some of the fundamentals of the business? Because, of course, the share price reacting obviously negatively to the news, understandably. But in terms of the fundamentals of the business, and you say in the RNS that you continue with the development pipeline, and you have no near-term cash flow concerns, and you remain debt-free. So in terms of the sort of the stability of the business and the ongoing trials that you're working on, I mean, how are things looking? You just maybe just remind shareholders of the health of the business.
Yeah, sure. So absolutely everything kind of business as usual on the operational side, Mark. As you know, we've had a successful phase 1 with our lead program 461201. We're about to commence another phase 1 for our second program, which is targeting trigeminal neuralgia. That's the inhaler that we've talked about many times, targeting that very severe facial pain condition. About to kick those trials off in Australia. We've also got programs 3 and 4, which are earlier stage programs, but coming out of that library of proprietary cannabinoid derivatives, almost 500 compounds in that library, already demonstrating the proof point or the value potentially in that library, with programs 3 and 4 both coming out of it. So, operationally, everything is as before. We don't have any cash flow concerns at present. We are debt-free, as you say, and we're just getting on with the job in terms of that drug development. And one of the core reasons for making this change is so that we can make sure we are progressing that drug development as fast as we can.
Okay. I mean, and what does it mean for shareholders perhaps at the moment wondering what to do with their stock? I mean, you mentioned the RNS about this matched bargaining facility. How does that work in practice? And I mean, is it something that could be done with perhaps one of these private brokers like JP Jennings, for example?
Yeah, that's right. So, there are a number of providers out there. JP Jenkins is one. I think others who have recently delisted or announced their intention to delist are working with those guys. So, it's an opportunity, and it's something that we're looking at putting in place for existing shareholders so that they do have the opportunity to trade their shares post our delisting from the main market. And we haven't got that in place yet, but we are certainly looking at that, and it's looking like that's going to be the way to go to give shareholders that opportunity to trade post the delisting.
Okay. And in terms of the decision that the board made to delist, I assume that you sort of explored all the different avenues that are perhaps available in terms of perhaps looking at a dual listing, particularly if funding isn't an issue, rather than delisting and then perhaps looking to relist on the American market, or indeed a sale of the company.
Yes, Mark. Look, the board conducted a strategic review of all the options, including, moving markets, dual listings, sale of assets, sale of business, looking at all of the different options available to us as a company in order to really extract the best value for shareholders and, in line with our duties as directors, as looking after the best interests of the company in the longer term. And it was our unanimous conclusion that the opportunity to reset the valuation and to bring in private investment was the right way to go after, as I say, a very comprehensive assessment, which included consultation with our largest shareholders and, of course, our recently onboarded a healthcare sector specialist investor, Cannabinoid Capital, who are also supportive of the move and will be continuing to fund our phase 1 that's about to kick off in Australia.
Okay, and the intention is to return to the markets, potentially back to London. But I know that NASDAQ was also mentioned, and that NASDAQ is, of course, very well known for liquidity and obviously interest in pharma and biotech companies. I mean, is that still the intention to go private sort of temporarily, get the funding, advance the programs, and come back when the company's in a better position, or indeed the markets are looking better? And have you any idea on how long that might take? What the projected timelines?
Very good questions. In terms of timelines, it's difficult to say or give you a particular time frame there, but our intention absolutely is to go away, progress our drug development programs with some private capital. Importantly, the take private opportunity is the chance to reset the valuation, which at the moment is really inhibiting our ability to raise funds without sort of seriously diluting our existing shareholders and indeed the ability to raise funds at all at a low market cap. So, we've got that Edison research note out there valuing just one program, just 46-1201, at about £27 million. Obviously, that's some way off the current valuation of the business on the main market. And we would like to, take that valuation and take that forward. And that's something we can do as a private company.
Okay.
That allows us to get investment in at a better rate, we hope, for existing shareholders, and therefore, build the progress, go out there, get those phase 1s completed, move through to phase 2s, get phase 2s completed. And then, as you say, hopefully make a very welcome return either to the UK markets should sentiment change and should there be more interest from institutions and a better liquidity profile in the market, or alternatively look to NASDAQ, where I think we know valuations are significantly higher and also liquidity isn't an issue.
Okay, good. Well, you've mentioned a few times the feedback from potential investors there, and this opportunity perhaps being an opportunity to reset the valuation of the company, to re-engage with to these investors who have the appetite for developing a long-term relationship with OCT. So, I mean, can you give an idea of the sort of interest, the appetite you've had from the private sector?
So I think over the last year or so, actually, Mark, various conversations that I've had when we've been, talking about the development of the business and how best to fund it. I've had quite a few conversations with people who've said they'd be interested in coming on board, but unfortunately aren't able to or don't want to invest in the public company. So,
right.
That's been certainly a driving factor in this decision. There seems certainly to us and to others who are out there and who have already announced their delisting that there's a significant pool of capital available away from the public markets. And, we're hoping to be able to access that so that we can take our programs forward.
Okay, good. And in terms of what it means for if you're looking to raise funds from these private institutions or private individuals, whoever they may be, how might that affect the existing sort of shareholders in terms of their shares at the moment? And is it possible that any sort of future raise you could actually put an offer out to all existing shareholders on the book?
That's certainly possible, Mark. Yeah, absolutely. We haven't made any decisions in that area as you'd expect, because we're just processing this delisting. But as a private company, or an unlisted company, I should say, there's a lot more flexibility in how you're approaching investors and getting your investment in. So I would hope there'd be a lot more flexibility there, and obviously importantly, the valuation that we'll be able to achieve will be significantly above, we hope, where we're at right now in the public markets.
Well, you hope, and yeah, I guess the ambition is to get that. I mean, the company could be very different in 1-2 years' time, perhaps, as you've advanced these programs here. I mean, I'm getting a bit of a sense of relief Almost. I don't know if it's fair to say, Clarissa. I mean, you're seeing it as an opportunity. You said, delist, advance the programs, and come back. Are you really feeling that this is like the best way you can secure that capital, really advance the programs, and then come back, and sort of, at a higher valuation and go on the public markets again?
No, you're not wrong. I don't think it's relief, Mark. Actually, I think it's excitement and an anticipation of what's to come. Because I know we've got a fantastic team in place here who are really primed and ready to take our programs forward and get some real proper progress on the drug development pathway, so that we bring them through the milestones that we want to achieve to get that value returned to shareholders ultimately. And also, let's not forget the sort of core mission, which is we're trying to solve quite a big problem. We've all talked along the way about the opioid crisis, about the fact that we do need new medications in the pain space. That's what we're trying to achieve. And at the moment, we're held back from that because we are not able to raise the types of, the sort of scale of money and therefore advance things in a timely fashion. And the quicker we can get things done, the quicker we get, hopefully, these medicines into hands of people who need them.
And presumably you yourself and the board will be holding on to your shares.
Yes, absolutely, Mark. Yeah, I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't believe in the long-term potential of this company. I've been with the business coming on for 6 years now. So, it's certainly something I'm very passionate about. And as I said, the team we have in place are all strong believers. Everybody's holding on to their shares and is hoping and is planning for a sort of great return in a few years' time, hopefully.
So, I mean, in terms of what perhaps shareholders could do, they've obviously got choices now. I mean, would you say that it would be perhaps a good decision or wise for them to perhaps embrace this opportunity, hold on to the shares, and come back in however long it takes, a couple of years, for example, to a much more advanced company at a high valuation?
Well, it's very difficult for me to advise anybody on what they should do. Of course, it's a matter for each individual shareholder as to their position. All I can say, Mark, is I guess what I'm going to do, and what my belief, and as I've mentioned already, I'll be holding onto my shares, and I feel very confident that this is the right decision to give us a real opportunity to reset from a valuation perspective, go away, deliver some real, genuine operational progress over the next couple of years, and then come back with hopefully a very exciting story to tell and some very happy shareholders who have supported us along the way.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. And in terms of keeping people updated, you no longer be a listed company, but will you be still keen to update the shareholder register through interviews or perhaps other forms of media?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I mean, I think we've said all along it's our ambition to come back to the public markets. I think it's an important part of that journey to keep people appraised of the story, keep people updated. So we'll certainly be reaching out to you guys and to making sure we keep these interviews up when we've got things to share. And of course, shareholders can get in touch with us at any time.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time, Clarissa Shomi-Mokoka, the CEO of Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies.
Thank you.